no idea how the framing will appear in this video. This is all a bit ad hoc. I've been tasked myself with doing a 350-mile round trip over 2 days, dropping some heavy equipment off the other side of the country, the other side of England. And so the car's laden down by the equipment and by 3 or 4 bags of my own stuff. And I'm doing some data points there. This is the Toyota Yaris Cross, of course, but I'm trying to put it to the ultimate eco test really, and a real heavy duty scenario in terms of what it's lugging. I've zeroed the MPG calculations. I've just filled up to the brim with fuel, and it's showing 397 miles of range. In theory, I shouldn't have to fill up at all on this entire trip. And of course keep an eye on the miles per gallon. I've got the Toyota in eco mode, so I'm just queuing now to leave Reading on the motorway junction, heading west on the M4. My first target is Bath, and then south to Martock and Somerset, a little rural village somewhere near Yeovil, I believe, but I haven't exactly checked. And then it's across the country up to Bridgewater, and then I've got to go up to Bristol on the M5, and then rejoin the M4 and home for Sunday afternoon. Just an update then, we're at the first services, about 50 miles or so into our journey, 74.6 miles per gallon. And the miles remaining is 383, so it's gone down by about 14, which is a good result really, as I've been driving fairly efficiently. I should mention a couple of other factors really. One is that I'm keeping my speed below the speed limit, ideally around 66 miles per hour, so reducing the air resistance and rolling resistance just enough, and while staying legal and not being done by the police at the same time. Also note that I'm not using air conditioning at all, even though it's quite a warm day. I know this is a bit self-defeating, but I want to go for the eco award here. So air conditioning does knock about 10% off efficiency on any car of any propulsion, any mixtures. So no AC for me. 120 or so miles in, about 40% through my entire circuitous route, dropping things off, visiting relatives. The miles to go, the distance remaining on the fuel gauge still says 343 miles, so it's only gone down 50, even though I've driven 120, which I guess shows how light I've been on my right foot. The economy is showing at 77.3 miles per gallon, which I'm delirious about really. That's rather good. A lot of my travelling today has been uphill and down dale and through villages. It hasn't been plain sailing along the flats, so not bad at all. The Yaris Cross is doing me proud. Next stop, somewhere in South Somerset, and then it's up to Bridgewater on the M5, where I'm going to spend the night. Yeah, I've had a long day, 2 sets of family relatives, and an hour-long hike, and a couple of hours at least of driving on all sorts of road surfaces and terrain. I've arrived at my stay for the night in Bridgewater on the M5, and here's the current state of play. I've driven 170 miles roughly from home. The range remaining, according to the fuel calculation here, has gone down by about 80 miles, even though I've travelled twice that, which is a bit bizarre, but it just shows how efficient this car is being. 77.6 miles per gallon. So I've arrived in Bristol, another 80 miles or so to go after this particular family stop this afternoon. Let's check in with the data on the screen. We're at 76.1 miles per gallon and 282 miles of range to go. So that's gone down 116 miles or so, even though I've travelled something like 200 plus. Of specific interest on Toyota's sort of mock RPM eco dial is this area down at marked charge. As you brake gently, this red line comes down, showing you how much you're reclaiming your kinetic energy from driving back into the hybrid battery. If it gets all the way to the bottom, you're braking savagely enough that it actually needs to use shock horror, the brake pads on the brake discs. Then you are, of course, actually losing energy. But I would say on this 200 something miles I've travelled so far, I've been driving very sensitively. The traffic hasn't been terrible. I haven't had to do any emergency stops and so forth. I would say I've only had to use the brake pads and the brake discs a couple of times in 200 miles, which you certainly couldn't do with a non-EV, non-hybrid car. So I think that's part of the key to the sheer efficiency, 76.1 miles per gallon. Braking efficiency and also light on the right foot. Those are the keys. So I've arrived home at the end of my grand tour. 303 miles is the total, 303 miles at 75.7 miles per gallon. The range showing is still showing 192, and I've still got over half a tank left, which is just unbelievable, really. So the range was quoted at 397, so the range has gone down by 205 miles, but we've travelled 303. So very impressive all round. And I hope you've enjoyed this little mini tour, this data gathering exercise in this Toyota Yaris Cross with a light right foot and a light brake foot. Bye for now.